If you're getting traffic to your website and you're not converting customers into clients, you probably have a messaging problem. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you a couple of signs for you to be able to check and see if you might in fact have a copy problem on your website so that you don't waste your time fixing the wrong thing. I'm not saying that design isn't important. It's definitely a key piece of the puzzle, but ultimately what's going to draw in customers and convert them is your words. My husband and I recently went to a restaurant that is getting so much shout outs on social media. They're running a huge influencer campaign and it's cute. It's been redone and they got a new menu. And we got in there because we saw the campaign. But once we were in there, we looked at the menu and it was wildly overwhelming. It was way too long and the food wasn't that good. The thing is, it doesn't matter if you're getting traffic to your site. If once people get in the door, they don't have a good experience, they're out and they're never coming back again. And I would hate for you to waste your time and your money on social media campaigns or Facebook ads or any of this stuff if the problem really is with your messaging. Aesthetics is really only part of the puzzle. It's a great way to get people in the door. It's a great way to give them a first impression. But what is going to turn your customer into a raving fan is going to be the words. It's going to be them reading things on your website that they make them think, wow, this is totally me. They're going to help. Okay, I'm sold. That's where the conversion lies, not in your pretty pastels that you picked out or your fancy new logo. So what are some signs that you might be having a messaging problem that needs to be diagnosed? The first is that you have a high bounce rate. Now, if you don't know what a bounce rate is, what I want you to do is go into your Google Analytics. And even if you're not techie, I promise you can do this. Go into your Google Analytics and you can check time on page and the percentage that the page has been viewed. If you have a low time on page, or if you notice a high bounce rate, that literally means that someone is coming to your website and they are bouncing right off. That's what the bounce rate is. They're bouncing right off. On some websites, this is fine. If you have an affiliate website, like I have a fashion and lifestyle website where I often link people to different outfits to go buy them. Well, in that case, yeah, I do want you to jump off and go buy them. And that is the intention of that. But if that's not your intention, if you want somebody to contact you, if you want someone to get a quote, if you want someone to purchase a product, you want to keep them on your website. So if you lower that bounce rate, that means that you're keeping people on your site. Another sign that you might be having a messaging problem is that you are getting some traffic, but no one's booking calls, no one's getting a quote, no one is filling out the contact form, nobody's adding to cart, like none of that is happening. So if you are getting traffic, but nobody is even making that intention to purchase, then we probably need to diagnose your messaging and see what's going on there. The next sign that you have a messaging issue is that your audience kind of sort of knows what you do. If your audience does not know what you do, who you help, what your service is, you're dead in the water. Like, how are you going to get these people to buy from you if they don't know what you offer, they don't know who you are, and they don't even know how you can help them? This is like the most important message that you can possibly get across to your potential client, to your potential customer, is who you help, how you help them, why you're the person to work with. You have to be crystal clear on what this is, who you serve. All of that has to be very, very crystal clear immediately when somebody lands on your website and across the other pages of your sites too. Now, this is something that's actually really easy to check. I know it sounds really vague to be like, oh, well, I don't know, maybe they know what I do. It can be a little hard because as business owners, we're a little bit in our head. We just assume that everybody knows what we're thinking and that everybody knows what we do. But the truth is, that's not necessarily the case. The easiest way to know if people know what you're doing is to simply ask. This is your action step for this video. I want you to ask your audience, do you know what I do? Like, do you know what I offer? Do you know what I sell? Just ask them. You can do this easily on like an Instagram poll, or if you're here on YouTube, you can post it on the community page. Maybe you send out a quick survey and an email newsletter. You'd be surprised at the amount of people that might say yes, no, maybe, and at least then you'll be able to figure out if you need to dial in your messaging. The next sign that your messaging isn't clear is that you DIY'd your website copy. Now, there's nothing wrong with DIYing your website copy, but I do find when I talk to business owners that they kind of know, like you just have this little bit of intuition where you're like, I think I did it right, and I think they know, but I'm not quite sure. And if you're not feeling confident about it and you're not quite sure, that's totally okay. But it might be a sign that your messaging could use some tweaks, or that you can at least have somebody give you that feedback and double check and let you know, hey, your messaging could be a little bit clearer. Now, something that kind of piggybacks on DIYing your own copy and some copy mistakes that I see business owners make, especially when they're doing it themselves, is that you may be over explaining what you do, or you may be under explaining what to do. I know that sounds so frustrating. I typically see people overshare more so than undershare because it's your product, it's your baby, it's your business, right? So you're excited about it and you want to share every single little detail, but sometimes that can be very overwhelming to the person who's on your website. And it's one of those situations where less is often more. Now, I know I said I had 5 issues to look for in your messaging, but this one extra bonus tip to check for is jargon. Jargon is just using industry terms that are too technical. And oftentimes, as business owners, we're so close to our business that we don't even realize we're using jargon. We don't even realize that what we're saying is way too complicated. What I want you to do is scan your site and see if you have any jargon. See if you can explain things a lot more easily. Take it down literally to an 8th grade level. This is honestly one of those situations where jargon can be very off-putting and it's not going to help close the sale because it doesn't make you sound like a human and people will get confused, especially if they are not in your industry or they're new to what you're doing. They're going to get confused on what it is you're saying. Now, copy does not have to be this like big, overwhelming thing. In fact, simplifying and getting clear is really what's going to help turn your traffic into sales. And this is the exact kind of work I do inside of my program. But in this series, we're going to break down some easy, tangible messaging shifts that you can implement right away. No waiting, and it's totally free. And we're going to start with your About page because the About page is literally the most clicked on page on a website, and it happens to be the one that's most neglected by business owners. It happens to be the one that people dread writing the absolute most, and I don't want you to dread it. So I am sharing a totally free formula that you can swipe to write your own About page in this video next.